I love SpongeBob. The humor, the characters, but most of all, the story. And as I rewatch more of the classic episodes from my childhood, I appreciate the top-tier writing more and more. And I also begin to understand the philosophical themes that are on full display in each episode, making for a compelling narrative and theme for both children and adults. The pure genius that are in the first 3 seasons of this show are unparalleled in modern cartoons. Today, I wanted to talk about the Season 2 episode, Squid's Day Off, and the philosophical themes it shares with literature like Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Now hear me out. I think this is an episode that is often overlooked when it comes to SpongeBob discussion. It's a Squidward-centric episode, and as we can see from such episodes as Band Geeks, SB-129, the camping episode, and more, these are classics. They're beautiful. They're some of the best in the series. So let's have a look to see what Squid's Day Off is truly about. We begin with a dime falling down a sink drain, which Mr. Krabs tries to save by reaching his claw down in the drain. It doesn't go as planned, and he gets taken to the hospital, leaving Squidward in charge of the Krusty Krab. Squidward sees this as an opportunity to abdicate responsibility and takes the day off, leaving all of his duties to SpongeBob. He tells SpongeBob he's gonna go run some errands, and as he heads home to attempt to relax, he starts to think about how SpongeBob could mess up. This is the internal conflict Squidward faces throughout the entire episode, the guilt, knowing you have done something you know to be wrong. When in reality, every time he goes to check on SpongeBob, everything's fine. He is faced with the mental anguish and his mind is wrapped in guilt. This conflict escalates the entire episode until Squidward is reduced to an insanely paranoid shell of a squid. It's only at the end of the episode we find that they forgot to switch the close sign to open, thus the entire scheme of Squidward's was in vain. Or was it? This episode highlights the age-old concept that crime is our own punishment. When we do something we're not supposed to, we may get quick satisfaction, but eventually, our morality starts to weigh on us. The action we initially completed to cut corners ends up causing us more internal problems in the future, as reflected through the deterioration of Squidward throughout the episode. Squidward was tasked with the responsibility of watching over the restaurant. It's his responsibility to make sure the restaurant runs swimmingly. As a way to relax and to get away from the constant annoyance in his life, he gives this responsibility to SpongeBob. As a character, Squidward prefers solitude. He doesn't like SpongeBob or his work. So why is it, when he ventures to this solitude, he's stricken with guilt from his conscience? As directly reflected in his novel Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky states, "The man who has a conscience suffers whilst acknowledging his sin. That is his punishment." This concept can also be seen in Greek thought with Socrates, who believes that the natural way of the world was to avoid deception and to seek the truth. He believes that whatever deities existed would surely punish us for the evil we have committed by this deception. It's no surprise that those who have grown up with SpongeBob in their lives feel more and more like Squidward as they age. He represents the side of us that we can't understand until we age. He represents raw and unfiltered human nature in all of its ugliness. Squidward wanted to take advantage of the trust his boss put into him, but he couldn't bear the consequences of not following his responsibilities. What had at first been an easy way for Squidward to slack off and relax turns into his own personal hell that would have been much easier had he just stuck to his responsibilities. Hell indeed. Look at Squidward at the start of the episode compared to the end, all for such a minor transgression. In the end, he finally accepts his position back at the restaurant and goes back to complete his duty. He realizes that the position he so sought to avoid was eventually even more relaxing than going home to slack off. The lesson and philosophy this episode teaches us is something that is often told to us in our lives, a lesson to always follow our sense of what is morally right and virtuous. It is only when we do what we know to be wrong are we burdened with the weight and destruction of guilt. Let me know what you think of the episode down below, and if there are other episodes you would like to see in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.